An old woman sat at a bus stop, lost and forgotten by the world, until a boy with a kind heart and a rusty wheelbarrow gave her a ride home. What she gave him in return? You won't believe it. Margaret had been sitting on that slab at Okiayo bus stop for 3 days. Nobody knew where she came from. She just appeared one morning, old, quiet, dressed in a wrapper that had soaked both rain and dust. She sat on the far edge of the concrete slab, not asking for help, not begging, not moving. She wasn't talking to anybody. She wasn't disturbing the peace. She simply existed, like a piece of forgotten history parked beside the road. Her headscarf had shifted halfway. Her eyes were blank but restless, as if they were chasing something only she could see. Her lips were cracked. Her slippers didn't match. Her fingers were folded neatly on her lap like someone who still believed in dignity, even while the world was ignoring her. People passed. Some slowed down. Some whispered. Some even shifted away in discomfort, especially when she didn't move to make space. "Who is she?" a schoolgirl had asked her mother. "I don't know," the woman replied without breaking stride. "Keep walking." The woman selling boiled corn across the road had a different theory. "I heard her children abandoned her," she told her customer on Tuesday morning. "They said she refused to die. Now they left her to the road." "She's been wearing the same wrapper since yesterday," the customer replied. "That one is not wrapper again, it's national flag." Someone else said she was a retired teacher who lost her memory after her husband died. One Okada rider offered a darker twist. I believe she escaped from one rich family. You know how some of them, they hide their sick elders. Maybe she got tired and ran." Nobody knew anything for sure. But for 3 days, the woman sat on that slab, under rain, under sun, under whispers, and nobody came close enough to ask her if she was in trouble. Nobody, except Raymond. Raymond was 16, tall, sharp, witty in a quiet way. He sold groundnut in clear sachets, moving between shops and junctions, with a plastic container under one arm and a tray on his head. The kind of boy who knew how to shout "sweet groundnut" and still smile like a human being. The kind of boy whose eyes noticed things. He had noticed her. On the first day, he assumed she was waiting for someone. On the second day, he paused longer. By the third day, he was irritated, not at her, but at the way the world had accepted her presence like she was a permanent street sign. That evening, after selling most of his goods, Raymond went home and dropped the remaining sachets on the table beside a leaking bucket. "Mummy, there's one old woman that's been sitting at Okiayo bus stop since Monday," he said. His mother, who was slicing vegetables with one knee on the floor, didn't even look up. "Which old woman?" "She's just there. Same place, same clothes. She said she forgot her way home," his mother hissed. "Ah, story that touches. I gave her water today. She said her name is Margaret. That got her attention." "Wait, you spoke to her?" "Yes." "You went close?" "Very close." She dropped the knife. "Raymond, do you want to run mad? You saw somebody looking lost, tattered and dirty, and your spirit told you to hold a conversation?" "She doesn't look mad," Raymond said calmly. "She looks like someone that used to matter." His mother's voice dropped. "People that used to matter can still be witches. Raymond, I'm warning you, don't let pity drag you into somebody's family curse." "But she's harmless." "And that's how they always look in the beginning. You'll just be walking one day and forget your name." Raymond chuckled and carried his tray. "I'll be back." "Back to where?" "I want to push her." His mother stood. "Push who?" "Raymond, if you push that woman and disappear, don't call my name in the spirit realm." But Raymond was already halfway out the door. Back at the bus stop, Margaret was still there. Same slab, same position, same faded look. Raymond crossed the road, dropped his tray behind the fruit seller's table, and stood in front of her. "Good evening, Ma." She looked up slowly. "Evening, my son." He bent slightly. "Do you still remember anything?" She smiled faintly. "Just my name, Margaret, and my gate. It's black, big. The street is tarred." Raymond nodded. "That's not helping. Almost every house in this area has a black gate, and all the streets are tarred since Fashola's time." She chuckled. "A real one, not dry." Then she looked down again. I thought taking a walk would help. I thought I'd remember. But now, I don't even know what day it is. Raymond stood there for a second, then looked across the road at a wheelbarrow parked beside a tired onion seller. Uncle Sewell. I beg borrow me this wheelbarrow for 20 minutes. Who you want carry? Madam, he said, nodding at Margaret. Sewell blinked. That woman? Oh, you take. Just return it in one piece. Raymond pushed the wheelbarrow carefully to the slab, then stopped like a chauffeur announcing arrival. He cleared his throat. Your ride is here, Mom. Margaret turned her head slowly, confused. My what? Your ride, he repeated, straightening his back proudly. My Ferrari, premium model, smooth steering. No seatbelt, but I promise not to hit any gutter. She looked at the wheelbarrow, then back at him, eyes twinkling. You want to push me around? I want to push you home. She stared at him for a long moment, and then, unexpectedly, she laughed. The kind of laugh that made her slap her thigh softly. The kind of laugh that had been hiding for years. Okay, young man, let's go. Let's find the black gate. Raymond helped her in gently, folding her wrapper away from the rusty edges. As he began wheeling her down the street, he said, Let me know if the AC's too much, Ma. I can reduce it small. Margaret chuckled. Perfect temperature. We have music too, ooh, Raymond added with a straight face. Any type of music you want, just mention. Gospel, Fuji, foreign, even traditional drums. We have everything. Margaret burst into another round of laughter, shaking her head. You're mad, she said softly, still smiling. No, Ma, Raymond replied. I'm employed by destiny. They passed one street, then another, then another. Ma, do you recognize this area? Not yet, but it feels close. Raymond sighed. Please tell me your estate is not in another local government. Margaret laughed. One more street. On the fourth turn, she gasped. Wait, stop! This one. This street. I know it. This is it. Raymond looked up. The houses were large, quiet, rich people's kind of quiet. They rolled to the end of the street where a black gate with gold lion heads stood like a palace wall. Margaret pointed. This is it. That's my house. Raymond's mouth fell slightly open. Your house? Ma, are you Dangote's auntie? Knock, she said, ignoring him. He knocked once. A voice came from inside. Who is there? I brought Madam, Raymond replied. Which Madam? The gate opened halfway. The security man looked out and froze. Madam! Raymond moved aside. The man screamed, Jesus! Madam! Madam is back! The compound exploded. People ran out. Drivers, cooks, relatives in fine clothes pretending to cry. A young woman in a silk robe even screamed, Mama, you're alive! Ah, I told them you'd come back. Margaret said nothing. Her face remained blank as they fussed around her like parrots. Raymond wheeled her into the mansion quietly, past the marble pillars and the lion statue at the door. Inside, the living room looked like a hotel lobby. Ma, sorry, are we still in Nigeria? He whispered. She smiled for the first time that day. When they reached the center of the room, he gently helped her out of the wheelbarrow. She sat on the edge of the couch and looked at him with warmth in her tired eyes. What's your name? Raymond. She nodded. Raymond. You pushed me like a king would push his queen. Thank you. He scratched his head. It's nothing, Ma. She looked down at her lap. I don't have anything to give you right now. I left the house with nothing. But she looked back up at him. Come back tomorrow morning. For what? I want to give you something better than groundnut. A job. Raymond blinked. A real one? He asked. Yes, one you didn't know was waiting for you. He stood there speechless. Then he nodded. Okay, I'll come. Come early, she said. We have work to do. As he wheeled the barrow back out into the street, one of the cooks whispered behind him. Some people push wheelbarrows and find destiny. Me, I've been sweeping since 2005, and nothing has located me. Before Margaret became this old, quiet woman who sometimes forgot what day it was, she used to be a force, a woman of power, a woman of class, A woman whose name could shake a boardroom without her even speaking. She was the founder of A&M Conglomerate, a multi-billion-dollar telecommunications company. She had built it from scratch with her husband Arnold, her rock, her partner, the only man who ever truly knew her. Margaret didn't just run businesses, she built legacies. She sat on the boards of major companies. Her name opened doors, her voice sealed deals, and outside the business world she gave like royalty. She was a philanthropist who sponsored hundreds of children through school, donated to hospitals, paid widows' rent, and fed communities every December. She was respected, feared, celebrated. But the one thing she never had was a child. After years of trying, of praying, of hospital visits and quiet tears, Margaret finally accepted that her womb would never carry a baby. But Arnold never left her side. When his family pressured him to take a second wife, he refused. "I married Margaret, not her ability to give birth," he told them, and he meant it. They had a happy home, until 5 years ago, when Arnold collapsed in their bedroom and never woke up again. Heart attack, sudden, brutal, final. Since then, Margaret's world had shifted. Arnold's cousins, nieces, nephews, and siblings began circling like vultures, pretending to care, pretending to visit, but counting the days. They weren't waiting to help. They were waiting for her to die, so they could split everything down the middle. The house staff, most of them were spies, planted by those same relatives. She couldn't sneeze without someone reporting it. Then came the final blow. A doctor's diagnosis. "Early stage dementia, Ma. We'll manage it, but it will progress." One night, Margaret sat on her balcony for hours and wept quietly. She felt like a prisoner in her own house. Every corner whispered. Every plate clinked with calculation. She decided that night, if the people inside her house were only waiting for her to die, then she would step outside, even if it meant getting lost. And so, one early morning, she left for a stroll. She didn't pack anything. She didn't say a word. She walked down her street, then past it, then further, until the street signs blurred and the houses became strangers. Her legs failed her before her memory did. And that was how she ended up sitting on the slab at Okiayo bus stop, forgotten by the world, until Raymond came along with a wheelbarrow and changed her story. Raymond didn't sleep well that night after he dropped Margaret off at her big house bigger than most countries. He tossed. He turned. He replayed the entire wheelbarrow journey in his head. Margaret's laugh, the fancy mansion, the security man that screamed like someone saw ghost, and the part where she told him to come back for a real job. Real job? As what? What was he even supposed to do in a house where the pillows probably had remote controls? By 5:30 a.m., he was already awake. He bathed, wore his sharpest shirt, the one he normally saved for Christmas, and ironed his black trousers with the back of a spoon because there was no light. By 6:45 a.m., he was standing in front of the mansion gate. He adjusted his shirt for the 5th time, cleared his throat, then knocked twice. The gate swung open and the same security man from yesterday appeared. His face was full of suspicion and pride. "Yes?" Raymond smiled politely. "Good morning, sir. I came to see Madam. She said I should come." The man raised his eyebrow. "Madam said you should come?" "Yes, sir. Yesterday evening, after I brought her home." He looked Raymond up and down. "Are you related to her?" "No, sir." "Are you staff?" "Not yet, but she said..." "Then stand outside." The gate slammed shut. Raymond stood there blinking. He waited. 10 minutes. 15. At exactly 7:10 a.m., the gate opened again. This time a short woman in a navy blue gown and heels that were struggling for balance stepped out. Her wig was bold. Her lipstick was confident. Her attitude was 10 times both combined. "Good morning," she said, adjusting her clutch bag like someone who was always late for a photo shoot. "Good morning, Ma. You're the boy that brought Madam home yesterday?" "Yes, Ma." She eyed him top to bottom. You even dressed up." "She said I should come." "She says many things. She also once said she saw my dead uncle playing piano in the guest room." Raymond didn't know whether to laugh or run. The woman sighed. "Well, she's expecting you. You can come in, but please behave. Don't go and be touching things. Things here are more expensive than your entire street." Raymond swallowed. "Yes, Ma." Inside the compound, everything looked shinier in daylight. The flowers were brighter. The glass windows sparkled. A car with silver rims that could blind the devil was parked under a gold-plated carport. The house itself looked even taller now, as if it added an extra floor overnight. Raymond was led to the back patio where Margaret was sitting in a rocking chair, sipping tea like a British duchess. She was no longer wearing the dusty wrapper from before. This morning she was in a clean lace gown with soft white slippers. Her hair was neatly packed. She looked like somebody, the kind of somebody that people wrote about in newspapers. "Good morning, Mom," Raymond said. Margaret looked up and smiled. "Raymond, right on time." "I came early. I didn't want to miss the job." She laughed. "You're already hired." "Ain? I told you. You're working with me now. You're my personal assistant." Raymond blinked. "PA? Yes. You will help me with everything, reminding me of things, following me to the office, helping me stay organized. Some days we'll go for walks. Some days we'll sit and watch old TV shows." Raymond scratched his head. "Ma, I've never been anybody's assistant before." She took another sip of tea and said, "Neither have I. We'll figure it out together." By 9 a.m., Margaret told him to follow her into her home office. The room looked like something out of a magazine. Books, award plaques, diplomas, a sleek desk with shiny gold handles, 2 phones, a large calendar board behind her with nothing written on it. Raymond glanced at it and whispered, "Should I help you fill this?" Margaret smiled. "Yes, start with today." He picked a marker and wrote, "Hired Raymond, PA, former wheelbarrow driver." Margaret burst into laughter so loud that the maid outside peeped in. "You're a funny boy," she said. "That's why I hired you." "Thank you, Mom." By lunchtime, Margaret had already introduced him to the staff as her personal person. Some greeted him with forced smiles. Some ignored him entirely. One housemaid whispered behind his back, "All these street boys, they always find their way into rich people's life." Raymond heard it. He didn't reply. He just stood straighter. Margaret had given him a room in the BQ where he could change and rest. She told him his salary would be 50,000 naira monthly. Raymond nearly fell off the chair. 50,000 naira? For following you up and down? She laughed. "It's small compared to what you'll be handling soon. For now, just earn it." That evening, when Raymond got home to tell his family, the house was in chaos. His mother had already called her pastor. His younger siblings thought he was kidnapped. "Where have you been? Raymond, you disappeared." "I told you the woman said I should come," he said, dropping his bag. His mother pulled him by the ear. "Come to do what? Wash corpse? Sign inheritance? Tell me before I carry my wrapper and follow you there." "She gave me a job, Mummy." "What kind of job?" "She said I'm now her PA." "PA?" His mother looked confused. "PA as in personal assistant or permanent assistant to madness?" Raymond grinned. 50,000 naira per month. She paused. Silence. Then she adjusted her wrapper and sat down. "Okay, start from the beginning. Was the tea hot or warm? Did you eat rice or swallow? And who ironed your shirt this morning because it was looking fresh when you left?" Raymond laughed. "I ironed it with spoon." Her eyes widened. "Holy Spirit, continue." It had been almost a month since Raymond became Margaret's PA. By now, he could hold her handbag without fear, remind her when to take her medication without stuttering, and even sign her name with the confidence of someone that knew her stroke pattern. Every morning, she would call from her balcony, "Raymond, what do I have today?" And he would reply, "You have 1 phone call, 2 pills, and 1 walk around the garden for vitamin D." She would nod. "Beautiful. You may now proceed to serve me tea." It had become their daily ritual. Some of the staff had warmed up to him. Some still eyed him like he was a stray dog Madame decided to adopt. But Margaret? She trusted him more than she trusted her own memory. One quiet Thursday afternoon, while Raymond was rearranging her appointment notes in the home office, a woman walked in. Young, fine, smelling like money and imported vanilla. High heels, tight skirt, confidence level. Dangerous. Raymond looked up. Hello, she said, smiling like someone who brought both bad news and snacks. I'm Mrs. Lydia, Madam's personal secretary. I'm from the mainland office. Raymond blinked. Oh, I didn't know she had a secretary on the mainland. She doesn't tell everyone. You're new. It's okay. Raymond stood up slowly. Do you want to see her? No, she said, stepping closer. Actually, I wanted to talk to you. To me? Yes, alone. Raymond didn't like the sound of that, but he nodded. She leaned against the desk. You seem very close to Madam these days. She hired me. She hires people every month. Most don't last. I see. She smiled again, more sharply now. Look, I'll be direct. Madam forgets a lot of things. Sometimes she leaves files lying around. Documents, important ones. Bank details, business shares, things like that. Raymond said nothing. She stepped even closer. If you ever come across anything like that, bring it to me. Let's just say there are people who care about her future, and you'll be rewarded. Raymond raised an eyebrow. Rewarded? Let's not act naive, Raymond, she said sweetly. You're a smart boy. A file here, a signature there, and your future is set. He stared at her for a long second, then smiled gently. Okay, I'll think about it. Good boy. She winked and walked out, heels clicking like betrayal on tiles. Raymond said nothing to Margaret. He simply carried on with his work. That week he found money on the hallway table. He returned it to her room. He found documents in the study with real estate titles, left carelessly open. He closed the file and put it back in the drawer. He found nothing strange about these things, but Margaret was watching him, every step. She didn't say anything. She just took note. 3 days later, Margaret called Raymond to the study. She was seated in her armchair, wearing a soft purple gown. Her glasses were on. Her notepad was open. Raymond. Yes, Ma. What did you want to become in life? Before Wheelbarrow entered your story? He hesitated, then said, I wanted to be a lawyer. Margaret looked up. Really? Yes, Ma, since I was small. I like justice. I like truth. I like argument. Perfect qualities for surviving my family. Raymond smiled sadly. But we couldn't afford school. My parents tried, but feeding came first. Margaret didn't speak. She just placed a few phone calls after Raymond left. The next week, a man in glasses arrived at the gate around 10 a.m., holding a stack of textbooks and a lesson timetable. Raymond was clearing out the backyard. The man looked at him and said, Good morning. Are you Raymond? Yep, sir. I'm Mr. Chinedu. I was hired to tutor you privately. We're starting your law prep today. Raymond blinked. Tutor? Yes, Madam said to get you ready for university. Raymond stood there frozen, then walked inside to find Margaret reading the newspaper. Ma, she looked up casually. Yes, Raymond. There's a man outside who said he came to tutor me. Yes, he's your lesson teacher. He'll come 3 times a week. Raymond's voice trembled. Why me, Ma? Margaret smiled slowly and folded her paper. You never asked me for money. You never stole from me. I've been watching you, testing you, over and over. You didn't know. But I saw everything. Raymond sat on the armrest beside her, silent, stunned. You carried me with love in your wheelbarrow Ferrari, she continued, voice gentler now. You made me feel like royalty, like I was still somebody, like I mattered. She looked up at him, her eyes soft with truth. You treated me better than the people who claim they love me. You helped me not knowing who I was. You didn't care about wealth. You just saw a woman who was lost, and you helped. Raymond was quiet, eyes filled with tears he couldn't blink away. She reached for his hand. You've been a son to me, Raymond. You've treated me with care, respect, and dignity in ways my own family never has. So now I want to help you. I want you to become the man I know you're meant to be. Raymond nodded slowly, mouth trembling. I'll try my best, he whispered. I know you will. It was 3 days after Raymond started his private lessons when trouble came knocking. Not figuratively, but literally. The main gate didn't swing open gently. It flew open like a wrestling match was about to start. Raymond was in the kitchen slicing bread when one of the housemaids whispered from behind the fridge, Uncle is here. He paused. Which uncle? The uncle, she said with extra emphasis. Arnold's younger brother. Raymond didn't need a second warning. He dropped the bread and slid quietly into the backyard. But inside the house, it had already begun. Arnold's younger brother stormed straight into Margaret's study, the same study that used to be sacred, the same room nobody entered without knocking. But today he came with thunder in his voice and entitlement in his chest. Margaret! She didn't flinch. She sat calmly behind her desk, flipping through her planner, glasses balanced peacefully on her nose, like a woman that had just finished drinking warm pap and reading Psalm 91. He marched in like a man sent from heaven with an eviction notice. So this is what you've turned your life into, he barked. Margaret looked up. He flared his nostrils. You're now following small boys up and down the house? Is that what you've reduced yourself to? A boy toy assistant? He's your handbag now? She said nothing. He raised his voice. I heard you even hired him officially. You brought someone from the street, from gutter, from groundnut seller to personal assistant? Are you not ashamed? Margaret set down her pen quietly. I want him gone by the end of today, the man continued. You are still my brother's wife. Behave with dignity. You're not well. Everybody knows. You forget things. You talk to yourself. You brought in a stranger into this house full of trained staff and family. What message are you sending? Margaret leaned back in her chair. The calm was deadly. Then she said, This is my house, not your brother's, not your grandfather's. Mine. He laughed like someone who just saw a ghost wearing Gucci. You think we don't know your plan? You think we don't know you're about to start sharing properties? You think we're fools? No, Margaret replied. I know exactly what you are. He stepped forward. You think you can fool everyone with your weak face and Bible quotes? You are old, you are sick, and you are losing it. It's time to let the real family handle things. Margaret looked him square in the eye. I've been living with snakes, staff who spy on me, maids who report me, family who count my breaths, waiting for me to collapse. And you're the head of the feeding committee. You need help, he said bitterly. Margaret laughed. Not softly. She laughed with her full chest. Help? She said. My dear, if I was waiting for people like you to help me, I would have died and donated my corpse to science. He snapped, This nonsense must end. She stood up slowly, voice low, words sharp. You hated Arnold. You envied him. And now that he's gone, you want to inherit what you never helped him build. You will regret this, Margaret. She picked up her teacup. You've been regretting your own life since 1984. Don't add me to your headache, he stormed out, nearly knocking over a flower vase on his way out. Margaret sat back down, sipped her tea and muttered, Ungrateful lizard. 2 days later, she called for a family meeting. They thought it was finally time. The big announcement. Maybe she wanted to divide properties or gift lands or call lawyers to update her will. One aunt, Auntie Bridget, arrived in full lace and gel like she was going for traditional marriage. Uncle Cola came in a suit that looked like he borrowed it from a mannequin. Cousin Tanya brought a fruit basket, just in case money started flying. They all gathered in Margaret's grand living room, marble floor, chandelier hanging like judgment, and a bowl of chin-chin on the center table that nobody dared to touch first. Margaret walked in with Raymond behind her, holding her bag like the humble PA that didn't know war was coming. Then the lawyer arrived. He opened his file and cleared his throat like someone about to drop a nuclear bomb. Madam Margaret has called this meeting to formally declare her successor, the person who will take over her personal estate, business interests, and all legal holdings. The room froze. Auntie Bridget adjusted her wrapper. Uncle Cola in the corner coughed dramatically. The lawyer continued, And that person is Raymond Ease. Silence. 1 second. 2 seconds. Then boom. Who? That boy? The room exploded. Uncle Dio stood up so fast he knocked over the chin-chin bowl. Cousin Tanya screamed, You gave everything to a groundnut seller? Auntie Gladys shouted, You're wicked! This is jazz! It's not ordinary! Uncle Festus burst into fake tears. Our brother will be weeping in the grave. Raymond just stood there, frozen, eyes wide, heart racing, soul levitating. Margaret simply raised her hand like a schoolteacher silencing toddlers. Get out! They continued shouting. I said, get out! Security stepped forward, shoes scattered, slippers slapped tiles. Auntie Gladys was still shouting insults while being escorted out. You'll hear from our lawyers. You gave it to a stranger? Uncle Cola hissed. You'll die like a goat. Margaret turned to the lawyer. Make sure none of them comes near my gate again. When the dust settled, Raymond slumped beside her. He was crying silently. Why me? He said. I'm not even part of this family. Margaret looked at him with eyes that had seen too much. You have treated me better than any family ever did. You carried me with love in your wheelbarrow Ferrari, Raymond. You made me laugh like a child. You gave me dignity. You made me feel human again. She took his hand gently. I tested you. I planted a fake secretary. I left money lying around. I set traps. You passed all of them not knowing I was watching. You reminded me that love is not blood. It's behavior. And you, Raymond, have behaved like a son when all I had were hyenas and lace. He dropped his head in her lap. I don't know what to say. Then say thank you, she whispered, and don't ever doubt what you deserve again. A few months after the successor saga that shook Margaret's living room like thunder, Raymond gained admission into the university. He didn't even know when Margaret submitted his forms. He just came back from his private lessons one afternoon to find her sitting outside with the acceptance letter in her lap, sipping Zobo like someone waiting for a parcel. Ma, this is real? He asked, eyes wide. Margaret didn't look up. Why are you shouting like I forged it? You're going to school. You said law, right? I hope you know how to argue very well. Raymond dropped to his knees. Thank you, Mom. God bless you. She waved him off like he was disturbing her breeze. Please stand up. We don't kneel for destiny. Go and bring my pepper soup. The matriculation day was something else. Margaret came dressed in lace so clean the sun had to squint. Raymond's mother wore gear like battle armor, and his siblings behaved like they were attending a wedding. The entire time Margaret held Raymond's hand like he was walking into destiny, and she wasn't about to let it happen without her. This is my son, she told people who didn't ask. The one I told you about. Future San. First in the family. Brilliant boy. When the provost greeted her and asked, Mom, are you the biological mother? She smiled and said, we passed that level. We're on spiritual contract and divine partnership now. Everybody laughed, except Raymond, who just stood there fighting tears and trying not to cry on his white shirt. In the months that followed, Margaret made sure to personally take Raymond by the hand and introduce him to every board member she respected. At one high-level meeting, she called him up and said, this is my son, Raymond. If I die tomorrow and you don't treat him with respect, your conscience will chase you into old age. Nobody argued. Margaret's voice still held power. Even the ones that muttered behind closed doors dared not challenge it. As time passed, Margaret became close to Raymond's family. His mother started visiting with bowls of soup and chin-chin. His younger siblings started calling her Grandma, and sometimes Margaret would sit outside telling them stories of how Raymond once tried to file alphabet with Indomie wrappers. They became one family. There were no bloodlines, only bonds. But as the joy grew, so did the silence. Margaret's memory began to slip again, this time deeper. One morning she poured salt into her tea and asked Raymond, is it because of this exam that you're not going to school anymore? He blinked. Ma, I'm still in school. Oh, she said, sipping the salty tea. I thought I had a lawyer's son. Maybe I dreamt it. That day, Raymond didn't speak for hours, but he stayed. He adjusted his holidays. He came home often. He stayed by her side whenever school allowed it. He reminded her to eat. He read her stories, even if she couldn't follow the plot. And every evening he'd whisper, I'm still your son. I'm here. The day he finally graduated, he didn't go straight home. He first passed by the tailor. Then he ironed his gown with a reverence that felt holy. And when he walked into Margaret's room, she was staring at the ceiling, humming a hymn from 1963. He knelt beside her bed. Mama, she turned slowly. Yes? Are you the doctor? No, Ma, he whispered. I'm your son. She looked at his face, then at the gown in his hand. He gently placed the graduation cap on her head. then draped the gown around her frail shoulders. Your son is now a lawyer, Mama. Margaret touched the fabric with weak fingers. She looked up. Tears filled her eyes, not from recognition, but from something deeper. Arnold, she whispered, our son is a lawyer. I told you we would be parents one day. I'm not barren, I'm not a failure, I'm not forgotten. And she smiled, genuine, peaceful, fulfilled. Margaret lived till she was 95. She couldn't remember what year it was. She forgot where the spoons were kept. But every morning Raymond would visit. Sometimes she'd ask, are you my therapist? He'd laugh and say, no, Mama. I'm your beloved son. Oh, she'd reply, I have a son? Yes, a kind one. Then she'd nod and say, that's good. It's good to have sons who know how to boil yam. Every day, Raymond gave her updates like she still ran the world. Mama, your son just won a big contract today. Mama, your son donated books to a school today. Mama, your son was featured in the papers. And she'd smile like she understood, even if she didn't, because some truths don't need memory. They live in the heart. Raymond went on to open several NGOs in Margaret's name. He funded schools, built libraries, created platforms for young people like him, boys who once sold groundnut with dreams stuck inside their pockets. And whenever people asked him why he gave so much, he'd say, because somebody once gave me everything, starting with a ride in a wheelbarrow Ferrari. Thank you for watching, until I bring another intriguing story your way again. Bye for now.
Hey, wait a second. You're really about to leave without subscribing? That's just cruel. Look, I may not have magical powers, but every new subscriber gives me superpowers of happiness. And the like button, that's like fries with a burger. Essential. So here's the deal. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell too. So the next time I upload, your phone goes, ding, it's time for awesomeness. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, show some love. If you didn't, show even more love by dropping a comment. Catch you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourself. And this channel too. Today we're going to share with you the keys to a happy life. Be thankful. Gratitude. Every morning when your eyes open, thank God. No matter how small your blessing be, if you still get breath for body, food for table, and family around you, you're already rich. Grateful heart they bring peace, and peace na the root of happiness. Treat people well. Good behavior. Treat people with respect. Talk to others the way you go want, make them talk to you. If you show kindness, it go come back to you. Smile at somebody, help your neighbor. Share if you get. It no cost you anything, but it dey bless your soul. Good character na real wealth for this world. Take care of your body and mind. Health. No forget your body na your engine. If you no take care of how you go move. Eat clean, drink water, rest well, and move your body small every day. And not only your body, your mind too. If something they worry you, talk to someone. Pray, meditate. Peace of mind na serious blessing. Live with purpose, motive, and vision. No just live anyhow. Find what they give you meaning. Whether not to raise your children well, build your small business, or help your community, just get one reason to wake up every day. Purpose na like fire inside body. If you get you go shine no matter the darkness. Respect and hold your relationships, family and community. Money they come and go. Work fit end. But people way love you. They're the true blessings. Call your mama, hug your papa, greet your friend. No keep malice, forgive. Because at the end, the love and connection, they give life real joy.